We're the indie project Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cats Ginjey Bear and Furrnando. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home. This year we've got so many amazing things to happen. I'm currently standing at my vegetable garden and I've got some stuff to show you. This right here is a broccoli, and in the depths there is a little broccoli growing in there, which is so exciting. So this is what we're going to be doing, emptying the horse box that a year ago we turned into a workshop that has just turned back into kind of a dumping ground. So we're going to take all the stuff out of here, put it in the tent, and then turn this into a palace for our 4 goats.
So the foam's keeping it in, and once it's pointed, it's not going anywhere.
He probably only needs about a handful of mortar, but obviously that'll be a really, really mega micro mix, like we learned earlier with the concrete, hey? So cute. It looks like it's always been there as well. Well done, Theo! You found a new favourite spot? Oh, no.
Come on.
Come on, Furrnando.
This tractor is an absolute legend. It just tows anything.
See through all the faces telling me to find my place, and I'm so close that I can taste it on my tongue.
No fancy carpentry. I've just got my 2 upright battens, if that's what you want to call them, and you have one on the bottom, and then your horizontal battens you lay on top of that, and you basically just sandwich the 2 bits together, and then you put bolts through here so it's nice and sturdy. I don't really use screws anymore outside in Portugal because they tend to just snap in the really hot 40 degrees here that we get in the summer. So I've just finished clamping the diagonal battens onto the gate, and it feels so solid, and I'm actually so stoked with how it looks.
We've laid down one of the nice straight boards, and as you can see, there is an undulation of the natural stone, which looks lovely, but is unfortunately a bit of a headache when it comes to figuring out laying it. But we've got a good scribing tool. We have to scribe all the way along the edges and then the top as well, because that wall is also the same.
You can see where we've got to with the actual battens along the floor, which is where the flooring will sit across there like that. We'll have insulation underneath. You can see the edge there of the board. That actually needs to be scribed as well as the front of the board, and the front of the board can't just be scribed normally, it has to be scribed at a bevel.
Oh, look at him, it's so cute! So another problem that we had to figure out what to deal with was our beautiful natural granite step, which looks stunning and is original, unfortunately isn't flat. So when the wood came up to it, there were sections where the wooden floor was higher than the step, which just looked awkward and wrong and just isn't a very good design. So we thought we're going to create this wonderful, where I'm standing here, semicircle entranceway out of tiled mosaic, so it's like a nice step in and then the floor begins around there. So enough talking, let's get doing it. God. The knee pads are on, which means business is about to begin. done.
Took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, as
Everything
does everything, but I think it will be worth it. Knackered, it's dark outside.
All of the supporting beams in, around the whole area, all the way around, and obviously there. So I guess now we can start laying the floor. Committed to the floor, guys. This is a monumental moment. The first floorboard in the downstairs area is in, and it looks mental, but it'll all make sense.
Pretty good.
Roarston. Oh, that's what you call a scribe, guys.
Not a five guys, it's a scribe guys.
Scribes.
Yeah, you're good, man.
It's such a big deal.
Where's the rubber mallet?
I've no idea. Here it is. The first span.
I mean, considering we had a scribe on each end, we had butt joints in the middle, and we had a curve around the door, I think we've done pretty well. Hello, hello, hello. Looking good.
Looking like a floor.
Oh. Just look at the weather. The sun has just risen. It's going to be a beautiful day. This is all leftover stuff from the roof. It's not going to be used for anything else. We've got no use for it. So instead of wasting this and buying granules, we might as well just hammer this up into small little pieces and pack it into all of the gaps.
And it does fit quite well, especially with these walls. So
works perfectly.
Yeah. We didn't put this in beforehand because it's raised up by about, is it 20 mil? And this is only 25 mil thick, so if you tread on it, it will break. So we didn't want to put it in until the very last minute. Is it in?
It's in.
Super bad.
And how nice does this look? Look at that scribing to the curvy wall, and then all the way along here, around the floor, around the door, not the floor. You can tell I'm tired. Look at this. This fills me with joy because it's come out so nice.
Theo's in his trunks ready to go in, so I'm going to stop talking so he can get in.
Oh
my gosh, that's cold. My swimming costume has held on to the cold water, so I'm still really cold and I feel like I'm kind of in the lake still.
It's another stunning day. We've had probably over 10 days of just perfect sunshine. We've just come down to the bottom of our land where the orange orchard is, and we have so many juicy oranges ready to be picked, so that's exactly what we're going to do right now. There's quite a lot of juice already.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? They're really juicy oranges. It's so wonderful to sit here in the sun and drink some of the sun right here. Oranges from our own tree, juiced into our own juice.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. How cool is it that you can grow stuff on your own land and drink from your own land and eat from your own land and just be kind of a little bit more self-sufficient.
I'm just so far away from when I think about how our lives were 10 years ago living in the city.
I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Squarespace, who has sponsored today's video. If you don't know what Squarespace is, it's a brilliant online platform where you can build and design your very own professional looking website. We've been using Squarespace now for the last 4 years, and we love how it made what we thought was going to be an incredibly daunting process of building our own website really easy and intuitive. There's tons of different features and themes to choose from that are all fully customizable. There is even a logo creator to help you stand out while building your own business or personal brand. We have our shop on there where we sell our merchandise as well as our ebook. We also have a monthly newsletter that we send out, as well as our podcast. So if you'd like to try out Squarespace and build your very own professional looking website, then click the link in our description or go to squarespace.com/indieprojects and get a 14-day free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain.
That is actually probably pretty good.
Yeah, it's cutting. Bee has scribed a little heart out and she's done an amazing job. Look at this. So what we're doing is we've decided to use really small sections at a time from beam to beam, and that makes it easier to scribe. Teamwork.
So there's 4 different methods that I've been using for scribing, and number 1 is just using the old pencil and eyeballing it, which works quite well in some instances if it's just a curve nice and even. Or if it's a really close-up bit and I don't want to lose too much space, the dot method is really good. So you just use a screw or a nail or something straight, but not too long, and then you just position that to the wall and your pen just dots along as it goes along the wall. Sounds a bit mad, but if you Google that, it'll make sense.
And then join the dots after.
And then you join the dots and you get a nice scribe. There's also this one, which is like a fancy scribing tool. It's got a little circle thing here, so you can just basically put a pencil in here, and this bit stays along the board and it kind of just follows the wall along and draws on there for you. The only problem with this is it needs quite a lot of room to work, so you can lose a lot of board, so haven't used it too much. And then there's this one, which we actually got for our van build, and completely forgot we had it, and then found it the other day and we're like, this is perfect timing. So this is really self-explanatory. Let's pretend my fingers are the wall. You just push it up against it and it goes in, and then you can just trace that onto the wood.
It's called contour gauge.
Yeah, contour gauge. It's used for tiling, but it's the exact same thing on wood and whatever. So they're the different things. They all work totally fine. Some are better than others, but they've all been very helpful with this.
Like a glove.
Like a glove. Here is the arch.
I've been waiting for this moment since we started this project, and it was in my mind what I wanted it to look like, and this was always the picture. I always had it in my head: the wooden floor, the pointed walls with the plastered walls, the mezzanine, and the lovely, beautiful chestnut roof. And here we are today. I'm gonna see my vision come alive.
Look at this floor.
What are you doing?
Just the fact that I can sit on this clean floor.
Imagine a nice little yoga mat down here where you can do your yoga.
Yeah, just look at this.
It's huge.
Look at it.
Let me do a 360 and then go under the mezzanine. Oh wow, how nice does that stone wall look, pointed up?
It looks amazing. So I was just literally just staring. Just staring, because I can't put into words how long we've been envisioning this and when it would actually be like this, and now it's like this. I just can't quite function properly.
Our electric is going under the floor because it's a stone building. we couldn't really put plugs easily in the side of the walls. So we decided to face mount them onto the floor, and they're going to be hidden. So the plugs over there are going to be hidden behind the sofa. The plugs over here will be hidden behind like a coffee table. The plugs over there will be behind the kitchen, and the plugs over there will be behind a chair. So it's all going to
in the kitchen, not behind.
In the kitchen. So it'll all be quite minimalist. So this will be like there.
Move the angle, got a little crack shot there.
You don't got my builder's bum out.
Yeah, got a little crack out. The flexibility is what really made us want to use this, because look at that. Going around that.
But how nice does that tie everything together?
It's actually really subtle. Oh, well done, I'm proud of you for that. This place is like a treasure trove of cool stone and terracotta and building supplies, and we've just spotted another one behind us that we're actually thinking about now. We definitely can't get it today though, because it's a unit.
Morning stories, turn the page, another day's begun.
This right here is the sander, so I've got the generator on because it needs to be plugged into mains power. It's good because it collects all of the dust at the bottom, and I can easily change the grit. I'm going to change the grit that's on there to this one, which is a 120, so that's a nice finishing grit. We want it nice and smooth. We don't need to really rough it up.
While Bee finishes off sanding the floor, I'm going to head down to the bottom of the land where the goat enclosure is going to be, and we've filled the hole halfway full of gravel, and then we're going to put concrete in here and make sure these don't move whatsoever. Managed to fill the 4 holes on the corners so quickly, and what I'm doing now is just going over with the trowel, smoothing it all out and making sure that it slopes away from the post so the water doesn't collect around the post and rot out in a couple of years.
Then Furrnando comes running in, he bursts through the hole. I'd covered up with loads of plastic. Silly me, I should have put a rock in there or something that he could not burst through. And he ran straight across the room and then did a whole circumference of the room. So that was really great.
We're probably about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through finishing this fencing, and it's looking so nice. I'm so happy with it. Hopefully this is going to keep the goats in.
Oh, I gotta go anywhere you're going, up the mountain, down the river we wander. You know I'ma go anywhere you're going, through the valley we need each other. Oh, I gotta go anywhere you're going, up the mountain, down the river we wander. You know I'ma go anywhere you're going, through the valley we need each other.
It is stupidly fun being in the back of the tractor. You could have given me some warming. So Theo thinks it's hilarious to do that, I don't, but it's not the smoothest ride, but it is very fun.
You can see that there's another nice sized ramp here, so we're thinking the goaties can walk up here when they go to bed in the morning.
Go to bed in the morning?
Go to bed in the evening, come up the ramp, and then this will be their socialising area. If it's rainy or whatever, they want a drink, they want water. We got this a couple of days ago, and I'm going to pin that to here, and that will have their lovely food that they like eating.
So at night they don't need to go hungry.
Exactly, and then we got a water container here which will hang somewhere. But it just means that they got plenty of space in this area, and also it's a lot easier to build here because everything's square. Before I was going to do all the building in this corner and everything's really awkward shapes. So what we've done is we've just cut up some of that scrap wood that we found, and we've kind of come up with a rough design. It's no problem to kind of swap things around, is there? Like, we could rip all of this out, it's no problem, redo it. We'll just adapt to how they are. It literally looks like a giraffe.
Surely, I think it looks more like a llama.
Are you filming that?
Of course I wasn't.
You was?
No, I wasn't filming that.
I'm just trying to pretend to be a goat. I imagine they're going to sleep like this way. Imagine they're going to sleep this way. Oh, we need to hook up the solar for the electric blankets for them.
Yeah, obviously. And the wood burner needs installing. And we're on our way to get the goats. This is such an exciting day. Are you excited, Theo?
I'm very excited. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm excited.
Theo's a mixture of excited and very nervous because, well, we don't know what to expect. We've not met these goats. We don't know what they're like. So we now have the goats in our possession and we're on our way home, driving nice and slow. It's actually quite a straight journey, which is good because we want them to be comfortable.
I'm just shocked at how good they are at travelling.
They're browsing, they've just been eating the brambles, which is brilliant. We've just filled up their water and we're just going to try and leave them be for a little bit, get used to the place without us being around. This is just their nighttime feed station, isn't it? They're going to have a bigger one outside as well.
Yeah, we're going to get them a nice big food station outside, so they've got plenty of food all the time. But there's plenty to eat around here anyway, and they've been nibbling little leaves off the trees and stuff. They're having a great time.
It's so huge. We could all sit on this and literally have a whole person width between us.
It just feels like we've literally designed it in a way that we can just now admire the work that we've done. Like, you look out and it's just like, wow, so nice. And the view out the window.
This doesn't hang out from under the mezzanine.
Oh no.
The mirror, I can put that up now.
That's like just to see greenery outside through the windows. So we can herd them round this side.
Corral
you can
them
see, yeah. So when they come to here, now they can't go that way, they can't go that way, and they just take the path of least resistance, and then they will just go straight into their bedroom. That's the plan. I've also come up with a cool idea over here, so I'll show you that. The goat scratching post area is complete. Looks really cool. I think they're really gonna like it.
Do you want to demonstrate it, because the goats aren't here to show?
So basically they've got two different heights. So this will be nicer for the older goats because they're obviously taller, but also each individual goat can kind of get different parts of their body and rub up against here. And once they've worn these ones out, I can just unscrew them, stick some new ones in. So I wanted to show you who's who. The one who just stood up with the magnificent horns is Margot. She is an older lady, at least 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe older than that. The previous owners had her for 4 years, so she's at least 4. The two younger ones are over here. The one with the leather collar is Aurora, and the one with the blue collar is Sky. We are going to be replacing the blue one eventually. They're very skittish and a bit nervous though, so we don't want to scare them too much. And they're about 1.5 years old. And then over here, hiding amongst the trees, let me find her. Hey, lovely. Over here is Mathilde. She is an older goat as well, like Margot, and she's got to be the friendliest of them all so far. She readily comes up to me and eats out of my hand. There it is. We actually just need to go and find out first how expensive it is.
I don't think it's that pricey.
It can't be, can it?
No.
It's just a block of slate.
Let's see.
It's not like gold.
You reckon you can do it? Oh, yes!
See you later.
That was amazing.
Ouch. I cannot wait to build the ladder for here.
And this is the view from the mezzanine. Check it out. I love being able to see our little reading corner there, and the kitchen will be going along here. Ignore that plastic, but what a beautiful view, and look at the height. I just love this space, it's wonderful.
It's an absolute unit. Look at that, it's like one person. Oh, right, you ready? Let's have it.
Oh my God, no!
No! Oh no! What is happening?
How wide is it now?
We transported that like 2-hour drive to get that, and now it's in pieces. At least it's easier to carry. Let's drop it down here. Quick breather. It's very heavy.
Fernando's come to help.
It might be small, but it's mighty. That's what Bee says anyway. We designed it so that it was kind of right in the middle to maximise the heat, but also it wasn't too close to the mezzanine, so it wasn't too hot. And we've decided this slab, it just isn't cutting it. We thought it would work, but I think it would have if it was wider, but now it's thinner. It just looks like it's kind of surfing. Pretty extreme. I think they're going to like that. I do think we should put a tyre under each end so that when you go down and you slam.
Got a bit of a bounce. Why are they all going for the fingers?
The bedtime treats. So the builders, when they were helping us do the roof, they over-ordered the chestnut, which at the time was very annoying because it cost us like an extra €600 on top of the massive wood bill that we had. I'm not going to waste this wood for a bed frame at all. We got a little bit of pine here, won't be using that, it's a little bit rubbish. But here we have some nice Douglas fir, and with wood prices going up and going through the sky, it's really good to kind of just have a stash of your own wood.
So we've just scattered 3 different types of branches. We've got pine, cork oak and olive, and the great thing is these are all trees that need pruning anyway. As you all know, we've got 5 acres of land, so we have land management to do, and until our girls know us and we can have them out in different areas, it's really great to be able to just chop these branches off and give them to the girls. It's actually really lovely to see them enjoying it. And also we had a comment from one of our lovely subscribers saying that pine needles are a natural dewormer for goats, which is really good to hear because they love pine needles. I'm kind of a little bit terrified about how on earth we're going to get it up there because it's very heavy. We're just going to throw it, Theo says, which I think is a very good idea. You know, why not? Let's just lob it straight up there. It'll land on its feet as well. You want some, Margot? There you go.
So lots of people warned us before we got the goats and said, don't put them in enclosure with trees, but this was the nicest area of our property we could hope for the goats, because in the summers here it gets up to 40 degrees and cork trees are amazing shade in the summer.
It's a good thing we had this leftover chicken wire because it's the perfect height to stop them from eating the bark, and we're just going to wrap it round a few times so it doubles up on itself.
What happened to my pride and joy, my UTV?
Hang on, I should be your pride and joy.
You are my pride and joy. But my second pride and joy, my absolute beast.
Hang on, what about the cats?
Of a UTV. This thing is incredible for farm work, for towing stuff, for going up and over things. I took it out on one of the crazy 4x4 tracks actually this morning, and I had 2 wheels off the ground, put it in 4-wheel drive, and it just goes over anything.
I've got to say, we are not going with a ladder that moves, that folds up, that does anything, because me and Theo, we know what it's like to live in a small space where you have to take things out, put them away again in order to be able to access certain things. And personally, find it really frustrating. So I thought it'd be easier if we actually just have a fixed access up to the mezzanine.
Nothing on our farm goes to waste, apart from once last year when we were away in England, going back there for a month. We came back and unfortunately the apples had already fallen and some of them had gone manky, but everything else we use. So we make jams, we love just grabbing an apple off the tree, grabbing oranges off the tree, and now we have the goats. Nothing can go to waste because anything we can't eat, the goats will. We're completely off grid. So where I'm actually sitting right now is our main well that we've named Manuel, and this is predominantly where we get all of our water from. We pump it out of this big stoned wall well. There must be thousands, maybe 10-20,000 litres of water in this well. We also have a spring fed well on the property as well, so that's where we get all of our water from, as well as catching as much water as we can off our barn roof and off our outhouse roof so that we can reuse it for things like showering and washing up. Nothing goes to waste. What's this hole doing? Why is it there? And a wider shot of this wall, you will notice that there's actually two of these holes, and what these were used for is for when they were building this building, they would have used like old like eucalyptus trees that they'd chop down and they'd put them in here and they'd span across the room, and what they'd do is they'd use that as a platform to stand on to build the rest of the height with the stone. So it was kind of like the original scaffolding. I left both of them. One of them's like a little nook where we're going to put stuff in there at the moment. It's just housing a pine cone. It actually looks really nice. It just adds a little bit of character because it's got a story to it, and also it's going to be useful to put little knickknacks in it. This one here you can see is very bright, and that's because the sun is currently going down, and what you get is you get this beautiful light that pours through in the evening. It's really golden, really beautiful, and it's nice to just keep that because we obviously don't have any windows in this side, and this is where the sun goes down.
But COVID meant that we ended up moving in here sooner rather than later, and you might have spotted our bed on the floor because I know that at the moment people hear that we're living in the barn and the banister's not up there, you're going to be freaking out, but there's no way we'll sleep up there without the banister on.
Oh, that looks decent, doesn't it?
It looks really nice, and imagine it when the actual mattress is on there.
I'd be happy if we bought that from the store. Amazing. Spread eagle. Try the backboard out. It's sturdy.
It's funny from this angle. Where are you going?
What are you doing?
He jumped on your back and then squeezed himself up there. And I noticed a whole bunch of pods have come through literally just in the last few days. There must have been, because I do check this all the time, and I'm actually in shock at the amount of peas they're growing, so this is really exciting. And when my sister planted these, she had no idea what was what, so I'm just going through and checking them. We've got some red onions here. This is clearly fennel. This is interesting. I think this is broccoli. Hang on, will you turn the jackery on?
Probably hear the sound in the background. That is our wooden beams that we found this morning getting cut down so we can use them for the ladder.
You might have spotted behind me, we impulse bought a beautiful chunk of wood. It's from an umbrella pine. It's beautiful, it's massive, and eventually we're thinking we're going to turn it into a table. Just having a discussion about whether this is wide enough. I personally think it is. You don't.
I got size 13 feet. Big feet, big socks. Anyway, exactly. Moving on. So all I'm going to do now is just take this and put this square to the mezzanine beam and line it up to the end of the joist that I'm going to be cutting, and just put a mark down there, and then that is how we get our bird's mouth. Bee is always the best at doing these sanding jobs.
I enjoy it as well.
You do enjoy sanding for some reason.
I don't know why.
I mean, look at them now. they're going to be transformed. So a couple of weeks ago, me and Bee went to pick up our brand new pool table and we're so excited. We've wanted one of these for ages, and this is the classic UK pub pool table. Seriously guys, it takes up literally, and I've seen in the comments people saying about, you know, they'd want to dance. If you want to dance, come round, you could dance. It doesn't feel enclosed, it doesn't encroach on the space hardly at all. He just doesn't want to get
No.
up,
Oh, look.
the chestnut dries out and it does get cracks in it. It's perfectly fine. This wood is actually 14 centimetres thick, very thick wood, and the actual crack only is about 1.5 centimetres. This is the metal rebar that we picked up yesterday, and it's interesting, it's got kind of like a pattern on it. Don't know if you can see that.
A bit close.
But yeah, it should look really nice, painted up black, and then vertically all the way along the mezzanine barrier.
Like that.
It looks good from here. I wanna look at it further down because it looks way better than I was expecting, to be honest. That actually looks so nice.
It looks really good, and actually being on this side of it, it makes it feel like more of a room.
You'll all be happy to know that when I'm sleeping, if I roll off, I'm just gonna get wedged between the barrier and the bed, and it will stop me from sudden death. The farm vet came because he needed to give the vaccinations and the deworming to the goats, and while he was here, he also came to check on Matilde. She had kind of like a lump on her cheek, so we wanted to get the vet to look at it to make sure everything was okay, and it turns out she actually had a piece of cork wedged in the side of her mouth and an abscess had grown around it. So he managed to pull that out, clean up the abscess, and she's back to normal. Her face has just gone completely back down. I'm so happy with how the mezzanine banister turned out. It just looks amazing. I've just been walking backwards and forwards in and out of the door, just looking at it from every different angle, because it really does make the barn as a whole feel bigger. Go try it out. Oh, it's nice. Oh, it's posh. Oh, it is nice.
Good. Well, I hope you enjoy it and have a lot of fun with it. It makes a difference, doesn't it? Oh, look at them both out there.
Furrnando wants some love. And I love the texture on here. The paint worked out perfectly.
Theo's just putting it on now, upside down. We've just put on the first handle. I made this little jig here to make sure that we got it bang on, because there'd be nothing worse than the handles being a little bit off centre. Put some tape on there so the wood wouldn't split. Although, do you want to take the tape off?
I do.
So that's already done. So 1, 2, 3 times 3 large. Done. We've got it all written down so we can actually just go through, mark off each one as we do it, and it should be a lot simpler and a lot smoother, because they're not massive cuts, that's the thing, they're just small bits off, so you don't want to take it too far, because then the whole thing's just not going to work, and that would be awful.
And we've got exactly
the right amount. We've got exactly the right amount of pieces,
more.
So we can't make a mistake. We've got zero room for error. Theo's just about to drill some pilot holes all the way along them so that when we come to actually screwing the extra pieces in, it won't split and it should go really nicely. So Theo's ready, he's got his safety goggles on.
We're going to fasten some felt to the bottom of these so they can slide out nicely and don't scratch our new unit. Something monumental has just taken place, and that is why it looks like someone has broken into the barn. I have a wire with a plug on it, and we just had basically the barn wired up, ready for electrics.
And I can stand up. Then we've got our lovely bed, which is just so comfy, and our little lights. If you're wondering how we have power up here, our lighting is battery powered. So I'm just harvesting some broccoli. I love getting the little shoots off the side. It's very cute, and we do also eat the leaves, they're very nice. And then over here I've got another broccoli that I'm going to use. I've been harvesting from these lettuces for months now, it's brilliant. We've got loads of different types of cabbages. I did also harvest 9 onions, which was a proud moment, I must say.
This lake just never changes temperature. Go on, test it out for us.
So I've got here 4 bulbs. This is so exciting. Honestly, harvesting your own food, best feeling ever. Got a little bug.
What I'm trying to achieve on the property is just to dig all of the water pipes into the ground. It's a lot safer. You see some farms and they leave them exposed on the top, but here it's not the biggest place in the world. We've got about 5 acres, and I'm going to be driving the tractor over a lot of it, especially with the brush cutter, the strimmer, all of the different tools that I'm using on the land. I need to make sure that I don't start ripping up the piping, which causes issues later on with leaks and stuff like that. So it's good to bury it all in. The noise says it all. How does it feel?
It's very refreshing, actually.
It goes all the way up here past the tractor, and then once we get to this cork tree, it bends around and heads up towards the house. This will probably be like the last day, maybe tomorrow, clean it up, and then it will all be good.
Okay, come on.
Bee's very experienced in looking after animals. If you guys don't know, she used to be a vet nurse, so she's used to giving injections, caring and treating animals. So it's very useful, because the more animals we get, the more kind of stuff like this we're going to have to do. So what we've got going on here is we've got our main well. As you all know, Manuel, he delivers the finest water in the area up here, and basically we have an isolation tap here that I've put in. So there'll be another pipe that goes off that we can isolate to send the water all the way up to that water tank I just talked to you about, and that will deliver water to the barn. And then if we turn the other isolation tap, the water will go up here and into this IBC. Here I am standing by the new wall. It looks amazing, so happy with it. And I think the other side, then we're going to have the Tyvek, which is like the water membrane barrier, so no rain can get through if it's really harsh on this side. And then we'll probably clad the other side so that we can hang things like our boiler and our plumbing and our piping and stuff like that. I just managed to find this old rebar that we got left over from when we did the railing for the mezzanine, so we're going to utilize that in the concrete slab just to firm it up a little bit.
Sing your song, moving every day, going further on. Waiting for something to begin.
So the water tank's in position, which is very exciting, and it fits perfectly on the slab. We have our water in and our water out with a tap on the bottom so we can isolate the water at the bottom.
I'll be that old oak tree.
So much exciting stuff. I hope you stick around, and don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram. We do daily updates on there so you can see what's going on before they're even in the videos. We also have Patreon where you can watch videos early and loads of other goodies. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.